Hello all. I am Sagar Kevalramani, Senior Data Analyst at CloudFronts. So welcome to technical deep dive session for Power BI. So today we will go through what is Power BI, what are its different components. Then we will develop a few reports and publish them on Office 365. Then we will have a look at how we can schedule the refresh. And finally we will have an Q&A session. So meantime, if any of you have any questions, you can raise your hands or post the questions in the question box. We will address them towards the end of the session. So what is Power BI? So Power BI is Microsoft's new cloud-based business intelligence solutions. It's based from Excel 2013 and Office 365. Where you have different tools in Excel to create the reports. You have Office 365 where you can publish the reports, and you can in all say it's an highly interactive tool where you can discover the data, you can model the data, and finally you can visualize the data. So coming to the different components, so as I just said that it's an Excel 2013 base and an Office 365 base. We have say 4 tools in Excel 2013. We have Power Query. So Power Query, as name suggests, it helps us to query different data sources. So this Power Query it has a various connectors which it can connect to different data sources. Similarly, after connecting to these different data sources, it provides us option to transform the data. So once we have the data pulled into our system and transformed in a particular way, we have Power Pivot, where we can create some sophisticated models. So this model, Power Pivot model, is an in-memory model. So it works quite seamlessly. You can query, the queries on top of it runs in a quick way, a lot faster way. So once we have this model ready, on top of it we can create Power View reports. So these are the visualizations. We can create different chart. It supports different chart types. We can also view the data on geospatial maps, which with the help of Power Map. So in Excel 2013, using the tools Power Query, Power Pivot, Power View, and Power Map, we can pull data, we can model data, and we can visualize the data. So once all these factors are there, once we have our reports created, usually we have to share these reports. So we can use Office 365 Power BI sites for sharing these reports. There we can just go and upload this Excel reports, and those will be available for the complete organization. The end users can view the report and interact with the reports. Finally, on Office 365, we also have a Power BI Q&A feature. So it's just like a feature like Google, where we can just go and query. So we can type a query and it queries internally our model developed and provides us the results on the runtime. Also we have on Office 365 we have query and data management gateways. So these help us to schedule the refresh. We always want our reports to have latest data from our data sources. So this query and data management helps us to schedule the refresh and periodically fetch the live data from our source systems. Apart from these, there is also a Power BI Windows Store app, where you can view the reports on the go. The reports that we have uploaded on Office 365 can be viewed on the go on, say, Windows tablets, Windows mobile phones. So currently there is an app available for Windows tablets and Windows machines, and an iOS app for Power BI is due, and it may be released around in the next couple of months. So without going into much of the theoretical details, let's go and start developing some reports. So here I come. I am in Excel. So I can with Power BI, I can say the Excel becomes an ID or a development tool for the developers, the people who are going to generate these reports. It becomes a tool where people can create and write, and all the things that we need to do to generate a report can be done in Excel itself. So here I am in Power Query. It's an tab over here. So Power Query needs to be installed on your machine. So it's an additional add-in, or we can download it from Microsoft site, and once it's installed, it's available over here. So here I am at Power Query. So here it's giving me different options to pull data. It says that I can pull data from database, so it's giving me an option like SQL Server. It's giving me an option of Azure SQL database, Oracle database. So you can see it's giving options of all the standard SQL databases available in market. Similarly, we can pull data from files. We can pull data from Excel files, CSV files, XML, text files, and so here these set of connectors are really great. So it says from other sources, and there we have an connector for SharePoint list. We have an OData feed connector. So if you have any web service exposed, we can just connect those and get the data live in our Excel. We can connect to Hadoop. We can connect to Windows Azure. We can connect it to Windows Azure table storage, blob storage. We can directly connect to Facebook. Most of the times, many times, and clients are interested in sentiment analysis. So we can query Facebook to fetch the data for a particular page and do a sentiment analysis on top of it. So now let's come out if you want to connect data for CRM Online. So for CRM Online exposes an OData feed endpoint. So we can utilize that and use this OData feed connector to fetch the data from CRM Online. So in the CRM Online, so here I come on one of the CRM Online instance. I go to Dynamic CRM Online settings, customizations, and there in customizations, I'm having a different endpoints over here. There are different service endpoints. So we are interested in this OData endpoint. So we can copy this endpoint and say I have opened it over here. So let's copy it and go over here. So we'll say from other sources, OData feed. Yeah, then it asks us for a URL. We can paste the URL over here and say OK. So once we say OK, it will ask us for the credentials for using which we want to query the Dynamic CRM Online. And once we provide the proper credentials, it loads up all the entities over here. So you can see towards the navigator towards right over here, we are having all the entities from Dynamic CRM Online. So we can load data from any of these entities and start playing with it. So this is how we can make a connection to CRM Online and fetch its data. Next cool feature is like in this online search, where we can just go and search some data online. So many a times we visit the Wikipedia pages where they are beautiful. There's a data in tables, and we wish that, oh, if I can use this data from this table somewhere in my Excel or somewhere on my local machine. So this tool helps us to do that. So if I say I just go and type say FIFA World Cup and press enter, it will query all the data tables published online. So you can see it's showing from Wikipedia. So on one of the page of Wikipedia, there might be this table with the results of FIFA World Cup 2014. So this way we can get all this data in our machine loaded in our Excel file. So this is all about different connectors that are available. So now let's move to a case study. So where we have data in say Excel files. So we are having a data for a movie survey where n number of users or people were asked to review or provide ratings for different movies. So we have data in text files. So we have the movies data which is in a delimited format in text file. We have different users data. Similarly, we have the data. Similarly, we have the other files also. We have the ratings file and all those files. So let's start. So currently all these text files, it's quite tough to make sense out of this data, that okay, how which movies are getting good ratings, who are the users, what's their age group who participated in this survey, and how the different age groups are rating the movies. So let's start. Let's see how we can analyze this data. So I have uploaded all these text files on Azure Blob Storage. So it's just an you can say an folder stored on Azure Blob. So we will go from other data sources. We will go to go to Azure Blob Storage. There I will give my account name and say okay. So I have a folder movie over there. So when I double click on it, it lists out all the files that are available on that blob storage. So it shows that there is an age file, there is movies file, there is a ratings file. So let's start with movies data. I click on this binary that it says that I want all the data from that file. And here it's on the next tab, it's giving me an option that, oh, how do you want to open this file? So there is an option like open, and as it was a text file, I will go and click on text file. So this in this query editor, the complete data from that text file is being loaded over here. So this data is currently not in a usable format. Still, we can't do much analysis on top of it. So if we have a look at the top, we are having different transformations available for it. So like we are having an option to remove the columns, we are having options to remove the top rows, we are having an option to split the column, we are having an option to group by the data, we are having option to merge the different queries together, different transformations available, like we can reverse the rows and columns, we can transpose the data, we can change the data type of data, adding a column, we can duplicate a column, we can create a custom column, we can insert an index column. So you can see there are different transformations available. So let's start how we can transform this data. So here we go to split column, we say split by delimiter, and let's say I select a custom delimiter where I say double colon and okay. So now this delimits my data and provides me data in different columns. Again, still this third column is still in a delimited format. I again go over there and say split by delimiter, and this time I select pipe and say okay. So the final column also got separated based on the different delimiters, and say I don't want these all other columns, I just want to keep the first genre of a movie. So I select all these columns, and here I have an option of removing the columns. So I go and remove a column. So in this way I have got say these are the movie IDs, these are the movie names, and this is the genre in which they fall. So I will go ahead and provide a name to them. I say movie ID, say movie name, finally the genre. So yeah, so it looks like that this table can be used for our analysis. One thing to note over here is like all the steps that we perform are getting recorded over here. so that next time once this query is saved, all these steps will also be saved, and this will help us to query or refresh the data. So like if we just say refresh, then it will load the data in text file, which will be in a raw format, and finally it will apply all these steps on it. The whatever we did right now, we removed some columns, we slipped it some columns, we renamed some columns, and after applying all these steps, it will provide the data in this final format. So now this data is ready, so it's we can go, and there is an option close and load to. We will select it, and it provides us option to add this data to data model. So we will go and click on load. So currently this will load the complete data in our Excel file along with in our data model. So data model is nothing but the power pivot that we are talking about. We are the most of creating the relationships and all those things will work. So let's wait to get this data loaded completely from our blob storage. So yeah, so this is showing a success that okay, we are having 3883 rows loaded. So in this way, we pull down the data for a particular file, we cleaned it, and we have loaded it. Similarly, I have loaded the data for other files also, like the users, the ratings, movies, occupation, and age. So now let's move how this model looks like. So I will go to have Power Pivot over here. So now this Power Pivot is an already pre-add-in available in Excel 2013. We just need to go and enable it. So we will go to Power Pivot and say click on Manage. So you will see that all the tables that we had like this, the movie. So we are having all this data loaded in these tables in this model. So here we are having, so let's look at this ratings. So this shows that okay, this user ID, the user, the movie, and the rating that they gave. So it shows that this user ID and this movie ID and this user ID can be found in this user table. So somewhere we need to have a relationship over here. So let's go and create relationship between these different tables. Go to diagram view. So yep, here we are in the diagram view. It shows a diagrammatic view of all the different tables. So we had ratings, we had user, so we can create a connection to this So yeah, relationship created. We can create a relationship from the movies table to the movie and ratings. We can create a relationship of occupation ID to occupation in users. We can create a relationship for age to say age in users. So finally, in this way we have a complete relationship model available over here. So all these data are related to each other, and this will help us to create the reports on top of it. So now let's go and create some reports. So here I come on the insert, and there is an option called Power View. Let's click on it. So this will load up the Power View window for us, where it will provide us the different options to create visualizations. So here we are at Power View window. Still can close these queries. So we can delete this. Yep. So here we are at an Power View window. Here we are at towards the right. We are having all the tables that we had in our Power Pivot model. So let's go and say I want to see the count of users. So I will say click over here. So currently it's taking a sum of it. There is an option. I will say count distinct. So this will provide me a distinct count of users who participated in this survey. Now suppose if I want to have a look that okay, what are people of which age group participated in this survey, we can go and click on this age group. So this age group is in our age table. So as we link these two tables in our Power Pivot, now here we can seamlessly use them. So data will get sliced by itself. So here we are, we get the data, the age group say 18 to 24. We had 1103 users who participated in survey. So this is currently in a tabular format, but we can always go and there are options available. We can convert this charts on say a bar chart. So just on a click of it, it converts it to a bar chart. We can adjust the size by increasing the size of chart, increasing the size of chart area. We can make it in a column chart. We can make it as a pie chart. So here we have a pie chart with showing the people of different age groups and the number of people who attended from all these different age groups. Similarly, let's go and say select again go and select users. I want the count of them, and let's see if we want to analyze it on different occupation. So we go and select occupation over here, and yeah, so it shows up data, the people who belong to different occupations and number of people of particular occupation who participated in this survey. So we'll convert this to and say a stacked column chart. So here we are, a stacked column chart. So in this way we can create the all other visualizations. So we can create many other visualizations over on this report. One thing to note over here is like the bars over here. So all these charts are, say, you can say a live bars. You can click on them. So the other charts on the say report will adjust themselves to show the data just only for that. So like on this pie chart, I have selected age group 25 to 34. So now the lower bar chart, the names are not looking good, so we'll extend this chart a bit. So yeah, so now these names are visible. So now this shows that okay, the programmers, so we had total 388 programmers who participated in survey, and highlighted is 181. So it shows that 181 of those programmers fall in the age group of 25 to 34. So in this way we can play around this report. We also have an options of adding filters over here. So filters is like, say, we can go and drag drop any column and drop it into this filter area. So now we are having occupation in these filters. So now if we just go and select a particular filter, the rest of the report towards the left, it gets adjusted to show only that data for that occupation. So like you are seeing that if we are adding the different occupation, the charts to the left are adjusting themselves to show the data just related to those occupations. So in this way we can create a report. So it will look something. So if we go and complete up, we are having a report over here. We have added a title over here. So we have added a count by gender over here. So this way we can complete up the report. Next report we are having is the genre-wise analysis. So it's the top is showing that the number of movies that were released for particular genre. So it shows that the drama had an highest number of movies released for that particular genre, and similarly the average rating that each and every genre have got. So it shows like that genre type of film now have received highest average ratings. So it looks like film now, it had the genre type film now, it had the least number of count of movies released, but it always got a good number of rating. So this way we can analyze the data. We are having different filters over here. We can filter out the data. Finally, we are having the report, say rating analysis. So it's showing that okay, how's the average rating given by different genders, the different age groups, and people of different occupations. Here we are having a slicer which helps us to slice the data. Say if currently we are viewing the data for drama, so it's showing that for genre drama how the people of different age groups rated it. So now looks like if we go to crime, the chart adds up itself to show the data only for genre type related to crime. So in this way we have created these 3 reports in Excel. We have seen the different visualizations available. We have seen the different filtering options available, the different interactive ways available to play with these reports. So overall, we have pulled data from using Power Query. We have modeled the data using Power Pivot model, and we have created visualizations in Power View. So now these are the reports ready with us, and not if I want to share these reports. So for sharing these reports, we can go to say SharePoint Online. So here we are at SharePoint Online. We have an say option called Power BI over here. We'll go and say click on this Power BI, and so it loads up. So yeah, here we are at Power BI. So you can see it's an subsite under the SharePoint Online. So this is the place where we can publish these reports. So if we scroll down, so here under documents, it's giving us an option to upload the reports. So if we just go click on add and upload file, we can upload the file that we have just developed. So in this way I have already uploaded a file, say for movies that we just saw. So if we open it up, so it looks like the way it was looking in Excel. All the interactivity and all those things are possible over here itself. Let's say we go over here, the genre, we are having the different filters. So still you can filter out the data over here. If you go select occupations, artists, so the data towards the left, it will just keep on changing based on these filters. So in this way we can publish the reports on Office 365, and it can be available for the end users to come over here and play it. So similar to this, to depict say some more chart types, we have one more set of reports developed. So these reports are based on say AdventureWorks database, which is an open source SQL database available from Microsoft, and this is it's mostly has the data of sales data of an biking company. So they mostly sell the bikes, the accessories for the bike and the clothing of the bike. So here we are showing their country, we are showing their revenue by country and for the different years. So this is an stacked column chart where says for this Australia for year 2005 we had about this much of revenue, then we had a good revenue in say this blue bar which is shows 2007. Similarly we are having an order count stacked column over here one more thing. The one thing to note over here is like this. We are having the filters for this report. We are having as in tile format. So if we go, say, click on accessories. So all the charts below will just update them to show data related to accessories. So this kind of filtering is called an tile filtering in Power BI. Next report is in scatter chart. So this scatter chart, it shows it's having three axes. Say on y-axis we are having customer count, on x-axis we are having order count, and the size of this bubble denotes the revenue. So here we are having a particular country, say Australia. So this shows that we in year 2008 we had this much order count for Australia. We had this much of customer count, the distinct customer count, and based on this bubble size we had the X amount of revenue. So if you hover on it, it goes up the all details like the country Australia, order count, the customer count, and total sales, and for which year. So one thing to note over here is like this whole scatter chart is in playable access. We can if we just click on a play button, it will show us the data of different years. So here we are having an access for different years. So if we click on 2005, it will show us the data for 2005. If we click on 2006, it will show us the data of 2006. And if we click on 2007, it will show us for 2007. And completely all this on an playable access. Similarly, initially we talked that we can analyze the data on geospatial maps. So here we are, the revenue data directly on the maps. We can just have a high level look that, okay, it looks like the North America or United States of America is the main source of revenue. Similarly, Australia is a competent market, and comparatively the reopened market is of smaller size of compared to United States and Australia. So in this way we can view the maps geospatially. So this was all about publishing the reports and interacting with reports on Office 365. Note this, we were completely interacting with these reports on SharePoint Online environment. So yeah. So the next feature that initially we discussed about was Power BI Q&A. So now this Q&A is just say it gives me an bar over here like the Google provides us, and it tells us to ask the questions that we have. So if we go and say just type the average of rating, then it gives instantly it gave us a result that average rating for all the movies. Now if we say average rating by genre, so it will go and query and update the results over here to show the average rating by different genres. So here it comes, the different genres as we had seen in our reports. Genre type film noir getting the highest number of average ratings. Similarly, we can ask any other question over here, like say we go and say count of users. So it shows the count of users, which gives us the different options that how we want to see this data, whether we want to see it in a table format, whether we want to see it in a card format or something. We say the count of users by occupation, then it automatically goes and updates to show the data. If we go, currently it's showing in card format. If we click on table, it will update to show the data in table format. If we go on line chart, it will update to show the data in a line chart. So in this way it provides users can come here and on the fly ask the different questions over here and get them answered instantly. So the way this works, it works on the logic of natural language processing. So users, this occupation, these are, you can say, the column names in our data source. So it goes and say that, okay, users, it maps it to our data source and tries to show some data around it. Then it shows that count. So it internally, by using natural language processing, it counts the number of users and then we are saying that okay, occupation, then it also adds up that in our query, internal query, and completely it goes and shows that count of users by occupation. So even if we note, if we say miss out, we spell the occupation incorrectly, then to it has some logic inside it to internally map it to a proper spelling for occupation, and it shows up data. So this was all about the Q&A feature. So now let's go. Now we have reports published, but we always want them to have say live data from our source systems. So we can go here, we click on these three dots, and there is an option called scheduler data refresh. So here we can go click on it, and it will provide us different options to schedule the refresh. So you can click on and it shows that okay, you are having these different connections in your Power Query. You can schedule and set a time for it, and you can say schedule a time for it and say send it. If it fails, you can say send a notification on a particular email ID, so someone gets notified that okay, something went wrong with that refresh. So in this way we can schedule the refresh from here, but before scheduling the refresh we have to set up the gateways, and you have to set up the gateways and data sources. So the one point to note over here is that Office 365, the SharePoint Online, or you can say the Power BI site, is completely in an online environment, and it doesn't know how to communicate to our on-premise systems. So suppose if we are pulling out the data from our on-premise SQL server and we are having reports published on this Power BI, then we don't have any way to, the online world doesn't, this online Power BI site doesn't know how to communicate to our on-premise database. So here we can create a gateway. So this gateway, say if we set up a gateway over here, so it helps us to install this gateway on your on-premise server. So that gateway will act as an interface between this online world and your on-premise world. Once you have the gateway set up, you can go ahead and create a data source for it. So once you have this data source available, the Power Query refresh that we were just trying to schedule, it will know that okay, where to fetch this data for. So this goes in the way like setting up the gateway, setting up the data sources. So this things needs to be done by an Power BI admin. A normal user without the admin rights can't come here and set up the gateways and data sources. And once we have a particular data source added over here, we can surely go and set up and refresh on our Power BI site. So yep, so coming back, so that was all about from our demo, where we pulled data from say a text files, we modeled it, we visualized it, we published it on Office 365. We tried using Q&A feature to get the various answers for our questions. We tried to schedule a refresh for our reports. So if we look from an end-to-end BI, from a BI perspective, we have completed a good life cycle for it. Means we have completed all the life cycle stages that are available for an BI application. So yep, we developed. So this is how the complete flow goes. We pull the data using Power Query, we dumped it into, we create a model in Power Pivot. We finally on top of it, we create Power View and Power Map reports. We visualize the data, we publish reports on Office 365, we use Q&A, and finally a mobile app. So this is how we look the scheduling the data refresh. We need to set up the gateway, we need to set up the data sources, and we need to set up the refresh. So finally coming up to Power BI architecture. So this is not this architecture is the way we recommend to implement Power BI as an scalable and maintainable solutions for an medium-sized organizations. So what we say is like we can host an VM over here, SQL Server VM. instance where we can, from all the data sources, we can pull the data on this SQL server and use the SQL server as a data warehouse and source of our Power BI reports. So once we have complete data from all these sources in the SQL server, we can use Power Query to query this SQL source, and rest other things work in the way that we just had a look in a demo. So you might be having question that, okay, what's the need of this SQL VM in between? So this SQL instance can have many advantages. It can work as an central data warehouse for your system. And so that the end users need not query the data from different data sources. They have a single data source available in between that can serve as an two point of data for all the users. And one more added, we can say not an added, but an benefit is like the many of the data sources, like the CRM Online, these can be scheduled to have a refresh on Office 365. So the refresh for CRM Online can be scheduled on Office 365. Similarly, there are a few other data sources which can't be scheduled. So if we have data in SQL Server, we can always refresh data from the SQL instance. So yeah, so we went through the what's the need of SQL Server data warehouse. So yeah, that's it. We are towards the end of our session. So if you have any questions, you can raise your hands or you can type. So we have a question from Srilatha. So she says that, are there separate add-ons for Power View, Power Query, Power Pivot options in Excel, or just one add-on? So for Power Query, it's an separate add-on available. For Power Query, it's a separate add-on. You need to install it separately. Whereas Power View and Power Pivot, these are already available in Excel 2013. So you need not there is no need of extra installation. They are just available in Excel 2013. You just need to go and say schedule. You just to go and just enable them. So yeah. So any other questions from audience? So Adolfo has questions like, when you have say different data sources where you need to synchronize the master records to create relationships, do you have any mapping tools available in Power BI? So for the mapping tools, say we had a look that we can use Power Pivot. So Power Pivot is a tool where we need to create all these relationships. So if we are having a data source from different sources, here as we had a look in Power Pivot, we created different relationships for them. So this is the place in Power Pivot where we need to create relationships. So now the tables can maybe the master tables, like we can say the dimension tables and the fact tables over here. So yep, here we are, like we have an relationships created over here for the users and the occupation and for the age. So now these are available. So you can say the occupation as an master table over here, and which was used in this table users. So we created a relationship and it worked seamlessly for querying purpose. So yep. So any other questions from audience? So looks like there are no other questions. So thank you all for attending the session. So we will share this and video for this recording, and with you we will share the PPT, the slide deck that we have used. So we will share this then by tomorrow with you with all the audience. So okay, bye, and thanks for attending this webinar.